Aloha, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Master Paul. I'm honored to be connecting with you today on this Facebook live stream. And today is Monday. It is the 8th day of the month. And it is the month of May. Today is another day in this series on self-healing using soul secrets. Soul secrets is a verbiage or terminology that has direct associations with my teacher, Master Sha, who is well known around the world as the most knowledgeable person on the matter of soul. He has developed actually quite a few practices, wisdoms, and modalities that are all related to the nature of soul. He has quite a few books, one of which is called Soul, Mind, Body, Science System. And the purpose of that and the following books are to explain the nature of soul to the scientific community and the community that revolves around religion. And the purpose of all of these wisdoms is to assist each and every one of us to more further connect to the part of us that we have moved away from. What you will learn today is more of natural soul secrets that have been brought to humanity to serve us and move us through the various sufferings that we tend to find ourselves in day-to-day life. One of the root wisdoms, soul secrets that Master Sha has brought to us is that the root cause of every failure, every success, the root cause of all good and bad things that happen to us in life is karma. And so all the good stuff is good karma. All the not so good stuff, guess what? Not so good karma. And so when we take the time to broaden and awaken our mind to the much greater perspective that the soul has, and the perspective of why we're here and are in relationship to the soul, we can absolutely have a far, far, far greater impact on this life experience. So that's a little bit of what you can expect today as we prepare for this. Now today's topic is called the Jin Dan transmission system, and it is one of many soul secrets that is available to serve humanity. In the last week, if you missed that, we covered the initial aspects of soul secrets, including the aspects associated with our choices in the moment, because very often in the moment is where we are blocked, and how we respond and react to them has a direct impact on our future. And so there are soul secrets to addressing that properly, and that was released on Monday last week. On Tuesday I had a error in the technical aspects, so the next live stream came out on Wednesday, and it was on the soul secret of forgiveness and how to much more directly apply it to the problem areas that show up in our life. Since the title of this is Soul Secrets for Self-Healing, a lot of people, especially those that are new that might watch this, would be completely unaware of the power of forgiveness and its association to self-healing. So on Wednesday last week I put a great deal of emphasis on that. And then Thursday last week, the third day in this series, I focused on stepping several soul secrets together. And that included stepping together soul tapping, Sha's golden healing ball, and calling forth the souls of the light beings. And we employed the forgiveness practice, which was taught on day 2. And we employed the right mindsets, which are taught on day 1. And the combination of linking each one of those in doing a practice resulted in some tremendous benefits. I was reading the responses of the people that did the 10 or so minute practice, and when I put all those together, vibration, tingling, movement, heat. I spoke with one of the students immediately after the live stream ended, and she had been going through significant blockages in her life, and she felt a tremendous amount of energy in her heart area, and it went up into her head area, stuck on one side, and it was vibrating there. So what was happening? Energy was moving. It just didn't move all the way through. And so when we employ the power of soul, when we grasp the significance of the individual soul secrets, and more importantly, when we put them together, we can have truly remarkable benefits to any area of our life. Doesn't really matter what area it's applied to. That too is a secret that needs to be understood, because even though as I watch the names go by, there's a lot of you that have been coming for a little while, there are a couple of new folks as well, so I'll be repeating some pieces of information. But before I do that, let's go ahead and connect to whoever's checking in with us here today. So welcome Kristen Rojas, aloha Tammy Hunter, welcome Susan Duvendorden, welcome Kristen Strachan, I'm getting it right, it'll probably take me 3 more times. Welcome Don Brown, welcome Petra Marie, and aloha Anne-Marie Stewart, welcome Robin Toth, aloha Linda Smith, and welcome to Carol Whitney as well. Welcome Brandy, welcome Ali, aloha Annie Smith, and welcome Missy Dodd. And thank you all for clicking on that share button, letting other people know about this live stream. I'm sure a lot of people will be very appreciative of the wisdom. Almost all of us have something going on in our life where we would like some guidance and some assistance with self-healing. Aloha Donna Kalata, and also welcome to Johnny Mambodi. Anybody else, if I failed to mention you, please forgive me. I didn't see your name pop up. And so let us go ahead and connect heart to heart, soul to soul first, and then I will go ahead and proceed with today's wisdom, teachings and blessings. And welcome also to Elizabeth. So we place our hands in soul light, soul service hand position, much like a prayer. We drop the left hand in front of the heart center. Right hand remains gently pointed up towards heaven. And also welcome to Felix. Let us close our eyes and let us fully connect. There are all layers of the divine, the Tao, the source, all committees, all beings of light serving the plan of the light side, including masters and ascended masters, gurus, lamas, sifus, saints. Dear beloved Buddha, dear beloved Jesus, there are individual heavens teams, guides, angels and saints, beloved Mother Mary, beloved Kuan Yin, all of those dedicated to serve the plan of the light side, and heaven's animals. We love you, honor you, appreciate you, respect you. We ask for your presence at this time. In whatever way is most appropriate, we ask you to be with us here today, to assist each and every one of us with a greater understanding of soul secrets for self-healing. We ask that when we do the practices that you assist us as well, that we can clear as many of the blockages as possible. We're very grateful for your presence. We're very grateful for your guidance. We invite all souls in all universes to join us as we chant the Source Soul Song of love, peace and harmony. This is a source song that raises our frequency and vibration and brings us into an alignment of oneness. For those that are new, it is a blessing. You may make a request. For everybody else, please join in and let us offer this mantra. Lula, lula, li. Lula, lula, la, li. Lula, lula, li, lula. Lula, li, lula. Lula, li, lula. 我爱我心儿灵，我爱纯然泪，望令让耳目世上，相爱平安和谐，相爱平安和谐。I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace and harmony. Love, peace and harmony. How. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So for those that are new, listening on the first time for podcast or on the live stream, this Source Soul song is very, very high frequency. It is an amazing, amazing servant. And it is currently translated in approximately 50 languages. It is complimentary to download and to spread across humanity. The more people sing it, the more love, peace and harmony we will have in humanity. And thank you, Kristen, for posting the resources on that. So welcome to Pao Mandero Flores. Welcome Rashmi, welcome Scott, and welcome Elizabeth. Anybody else, welcome. So thank you for coming to today. It is day 4, Soul Secrets for Self-Healing. I think I saw Master Avi pop in there too, welcome. And today I'm going to be focusing on the Jin Dan transmission system. Now the Jin Dan transmission system is something that won't make a lot of sense until I give a little prerequisite. And it was the history of it actually has a lot to do with understanding my teacher, Master Sha. And as with all great people that bring value to humanity, they're all imbued or infused with special talents, special abilities. Our beloved Dalai Lama is infused with spiritual wisdom. He has the ability to explain things in a way where it touches the most hearts. Other masters have different sets of skill sets. Master Sha, being a grand master in Tai Chi, Qigong, Feng Shui, I Ching, Kung Fu, having trained under very high level spiritual beings, was given the blessings to do what would be called spiritual healing, or soul healing is what he refers to it as. And it took him a while to grasp it, and it took him a while to be able to explain it. And it is relevant to this topic since we're talking about self-healing with soul wisdom. It's important to understand the nature of soul and healing. Because in his teachings, which you may or may not agree with, everything, all of our success, all of our failure, all of our pain, all of our suffering, all of our wealth, all of our health, has a direct association to our spiritual debt and our spiritual virtue. What is spiritual debt? Bad karma. What is spiritual virtue? Good karma. So all of the good and all the bad in our life has that association. For many of you, that's not new information. But in relationship to the soul and in relationship to self-healing, it has an immediate and direct association, because we are living a life that is literally predicted by our spiritual debt and spiritual virtue. And so when we are in significant pain, when we are in emotional suffering, when we cannot find that soulmate, there is a direct association to soul and soul imbalances. And this is why Master Sha is considered to be the father of the soul wisdom at this time on Mother Earth, because he's written over 20 books, all of them on that exact subject matter. And what he teaches is that we can resolve these things on our own by going into very deep levels of forgiveness practice, what I taught day 2 last week of this series, and by working with the other soul wisdoms and secrets that he has brought to us. Today, I'll be talking to you about another soul secret, which is called special services that are available through, there's about 10,000 people you can get these through. And each one of these individuals have received what's called a transmission, a soul transmission. And this transmission allows them to be a conduit or a middleman through which blessings occur. Now, that might sound kind of normal to you, might sound a bit abnormal to you, depending on your awareness. There are what is called levels and layers of spiritual healers, energy healers, different types of healers out there. And they all have different layers of success. And they all have different layers of benefit to the individual receiving. One of the things that even just today I was listening to Master Sha, he's in a retreat in Europe, and he stated that he was talking to a gentleman who had a energetic device, a machine that put off energetic frequencies, if I understood the conversation correctly, and it helped people a lot. And yet, even though it helped people a lot and it took away a lot of their suffering, pain, things like that, they still ended up dying of the cancer or whatever it was that they went to this person for. And he said he couldn't figure it out. He could relieve them of their suffering, but they still died, and it really bothered this person. And my Master Sha explained to him, well, the reason is simple. You cleared up some of the ways it reflected at the bodily level, but you didn't clear up the root, which is the karma. So if I was to offer a differentiation for anybody that's watching, listening for the first, second, or third time, the huge differentiation between what we offer, what any of the 10,000 soul practitioners offer, is that we work with things at the level of soul, which means we work with things at the level of the spiritual virtue and spiritual debt. And that's significantly and substantially different than the other forms of blessings that are available out there. And so I've worked with the other forms, and they all serve a purpose, and they all have a value. But they can only go so far because they don't clear things at the root. And so let me acknowledge a few more people that popped in here. So welcome to Kate Nicole, welcome Candy Cornett, welcome Tatiana. And anyone else, if I haven't mentioned you, please forgive me. So Master Sha, as a conduit through which the source blessings came through to impact those that he was serving, he came to understand what I'm sharing with you now in simple sentences. At the time he was becoming this vessel through which source would offer blessings to people and their maladies would dissolve, he was still having a greater understanding of why it was working. And with each day and with each week and each month and each year, he got higher and deeper understandings. And one of those was that that people are made up of the same things, that everything is made up of the same thing. They're made up of Shen, Qi, and Jing. Shen, Qi, and Jing are Mandarin Chinese words. Shen means soul, heart, and mind. Soul, heart, and mind. Soul leads the heart, which leads the mind. Shen is soul, heart, and mind. Qi is energy, and Jing is matter. You've heard of Tai Chi, Qigong. So soul, heart, mind, energy, matter. That's what everyone and everything is made up of. And he had already understood the nature of karma, spiritual debt, and he understood Shen, Qi, and Jing, but he wasn't sure how they crossed over each other. And so when we look at soul secrets and we look at self-healing, the reason this explanation is being offered to you is so that when special services that can be delivered through the 10,000 or so practitioners that have received these special abilities, when special services are offered, you'll understand what they are, how to receive them, and why they work. Because the individuals, the practitioners, they literally could have no training whatsoever. They could just walk in off the street, and if they were approved, they could receive this practitioner transmission and instantly offer blessings and the person on the receiving end could be significantly shifted. How is that possible? That someone that has no skill set whatsoever, doesn't even care to have a skill set as such, they can receive a transmission, they can put their hand up, and somebody on the other end could receive significant benefits. It's not because of the person, it's because of the transmission. I'm leading towards the Jin Dan transmission system in layers. So the transmission is everything. And what the transmission is it's a, you want to think of it like a tube of light. Okay? And so who offered the transmission is the first question. Who is in a position to offer it? Okay, that's very important. Well, in Master Sha's case, he received the transmission from the source because of his dedicated service to humanity, his commitment to serve unconditionally, and his proof of that commitment over time. He was tested 22 years before he was actually given this transmission. But when he finally received it, he was able to ask for a blessing to occur for those that were come to receive his services, and then the blessings came through him because he was a vehicle or a channel, if you will, of that blessing. Where did the blessing come from? It came from source. Did he do it? No, it came from source. He was a vessel through which it came through. And after approximately I could be off on the time, but I want to say between 8 and 10 years, he was given the approval by the source to be a person that transmits that same ability to others. And so that's pretty astounding when you think about it, that others can receive an ability such as that they can then instantly have a channel of light coming through them, in which spiritual debt can be cleared, karma. So this is not, most people who are listening, they might be comparing this to other forms of blessings that are offered, such as a Reiki or things like that. Although there are small similarities, there is a substantial difference. And that is that this form clears spiritual debt. Doesn't just adjust the energy and matter and make the pain go away. It clears the spiritual debt. It's a big difference because that's the originating cause. So, as I was indicating, there's roughly 10,000 souls that have received this ability. There are probably about 10 of them today that are with us that have what's called Tao hands. And they can offer blessings and services. The ability of these services to impact somebody is directly associated to the purity of the individual and the level of the practitioner blessing they have received, I guess is a good way to put it. So if somebody serves unconditionally, they want to help people, they go out of their way, and they have the ability to honor for a higher layer, then in essence the channel of light that goes through you is made wider. Therefore more frequency can come through. And I'm coming to that, Amy. And as more frequency comes through, more of the spiritual debt can be cleared, which means that if it's pain, the pain will go away quicker, better, faster, and stay away longer. If it's an emotional blockage, that same thing. It doesn't really matter. If it's pain, if it's an emotion, if it's a mental blockage, if it's a financial blockage, if it's a relationship blockage. This is another differential between a soul self-healing process and any of the other modalities. The other modalities, to the best of my understanding, have some limitations which are pretty much to the physical body. Whereas karma doesn't care. Karma messes with your relationships, it messes with your finances, it messes with everything. Because we have brought that upon us by our unpleasant choices in previous times. So the unique thing about being one of those practitioners is that our abilities are not limited to the physical experience. It can be for finances, it can be for relationships. It has no limitations. So it makes it a very, very unique skill. Not even a skill, a very, very unique attribute or power to be the recipient of. So the Jin Dan transmission system is at the top of the food chain when it comes to these various transmissions. There are different levels of transmissions, which basically mean the channel through which the light comes through is wider and wider and wider. More of the spiritual debt or blockages can be released. Therefore, the propensity for success of the reversal of whatever is being asked to be reversed is much, much higher. The way these different soul blessings work is they assist the person in the self-healing process. Because in actuality, the person offering it doesn't do it. The person on the receiving end is the one that is doing everything. They're the ones that honors a little bit of financial blessings in return for receiving virtue. Kind of like if you go to the grocery store, you spend $50, you get groceries. It's in a fair exchange. Well, when we generate spiritual debt and we generate spiritual virtue, and these follow us from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, they impact us in our life experiences. And a spiritual debt that might be causing you to not find your soulmate or to be in significant pain or whatever it might be is a debt. It's there for a reason. How do you offset a debt? You offset it by bringing virtue to the table. Virtue is just like, how do you get the food out of the grocery store? You bring in cash. How do you offset the spiritual debt? You bring in virtue. So in heaven there is money, and it's called virtue. And on earth there is money. And so that is another unique feature of Soul Secrets, is that when you bless things at the level of soul, then the transformation of how that negative debt is showing up here on earth is directly impacted. Because when you bring virtue to the table, it's like walking out with the groceries that you've been wanting to walk out with for a long time. It dissolves the hunger problem. Same thing if you're dealing with, a physical suffering, it could potentially dissolve that. Now, karma, good and bad, in this case unpleasant karma, impacts the Shen, Qi, and Jing, the soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. The Shen, Qi, and Jing of the relationships, the relationship has a soul, it has a heart, it has a consciousness, it's made up of energy and matter. Everything is made up of energy and matter. So people don't think that a relationship, something between two beings, would have a soul. But it does. It has a soul, it has a heart, it has a mind. It has a history, because the relationship between you and another, in almost every case, has a history. Some cases it doesn't. You just cross people's paths. There's no history there. But most of us have well over anywhere between 1,000 and 100,000 relationships that we have developed. And so there can be Shen, Qi, Jing blockages in relationships. Finances. If we or our ancestors have harmed others in finances, if we have harmed them by being greedy, by being corrupt, if we have harmed them by skimming the till, making an inferior product, and they were harmed by that choice. These all create financial karma for us. Shen, Qi, Jing blockages. So one of the understandings of self-healing with Soul Secrets is to grasp very completely and fully that soul is not limited to the human vessel, that soul runs through everything, because soul is the original creator. The original creator has created everything, all the Qi, which is energy, all of the matter, which is Jing, and that energy and matter eventually coalesces into an experience, a person, a chair, something. The energy and matter eventually becomes something. It carries with it the consciousness of the original creator. It carries with it the heart of the original creator and the soul of the original creator. And over the course of all of those experiences, whatever they may be, it creates both positive and negative karma. So one of the major differences with these special services, a Jin Dan transmission system, is that it literally can uproot palm trees, redwood forests of suffering in a relatively short period of time. It's very special in so many ways because it's very rare and hard to come by. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are about 10,000 beings on the planet, and for those that have a pure heart, a heart to serve, a heart to be a benefit to their family members, to their loved ones, to have some solutions instead of pharmaceuticals available to them. If they energetically speaking are clear enough to receive the transmission, then they may be approved and they can attend one of the retreats and they can see them. One's coming up June 9, 10 and 11 in the Honolulu area. I'm not one of the teachers, but if that's of interest to you, certainly you can follow up with that and check to see first. You have to check to see if you're approved, and that would be checking with one of the master teachers. I'm one of the master teachers. There's about 12 master teachers in Honolulu, but one of us would have to check first. The second layer is called a soul healer teacher. Then there's a master healer teacher. There's a divine master healer teacher. There is the master teacher, and there are layers of transmissions in the middle. One of them is a soul operation. There's the calligraphy practitioners. There's many different modalities through which this form of blessing can occur. But what is each one of these blessings doing? Each one is literally going in and bringing massive amounts of virtue to offset the spiritual debt that is bringing that condition. Whether it's an emotional blockage, think about it, depression, anxiety, okay? How many people do you know have that? What is that? It's a blockage in the heart center. It's very simple when you break it down. People have significant blockages here. What does the Western model do? They deal with things at the level of matter. They bring pharmaceuticals to it, and they adjust the chemical levels at the level of matter. If this same person had the suffering, went to an Eastern practitioner, they would try herbs. And they would bring these herbs to adjust things and try to move the chi, move the energy around the organs and the systems, and which also adjusts the matter. But soul practitioners look at things entirely differently. They look at it from the perspective of what is the root cause? What is the source? Well, for somebody that has been given the label of you have depression, or you have anxiety, or you have slip disc, or you have whatever the label is, it's irrelevant from the perspective of the soul practitioner. The soul practitioner looks at it from the perspective of this is a spiritual debt blockage. This person may or may not know it. It doesn't really matter if they know it. But the practitioner understands that. And so when a blessing is offered, it deals with things at that level. I'll give you a direct example. Yesterday, one of the students, who's not watching today, had texted me, and they said, they were asking a question actually about the Tao Practitioner workshop that's coming up. And they said, I literally had migraines for over a week. And I didn't gather that it was a 10 out of 10 scale, but I gathered that it wasn't going away no matter what this person had tried. And that's what they said. And so I suggested a specific practice to see if it made a difference, because the message I received that there was a blockage in what's called the upper jiao. And so they did the practice. They said, yeah, it made a little difference, not much. So I offered this person using a transmission, not the one I'm talking about today. It's one that's about in the middle. I've talked about it before. It's called a soul operation. Now this person's in one of the Asia Pacific islands. I'm in Hawaii, so we're roughly 4,000 miles away. I did not tell him I was offering the blessing. I just, from my heart, offered a blessing. It took me about 2 minutes. I sent her a text. I said, I don't know if this helped, but I offered you a blessing. I got a text back from her this morning. She did not see the text that I had sent. And she said, OMG, oh my God. I went after our text yesterday, and I tried this practice and didn't get much value out of it. So I went and I took some pills. And she said, within 5 minutes of taking the pills, I was feeling great. I couldn't figure out why. Then she saw my text the next morning. She said, oh, thank you for the blessing. So here I am, 4,000 or 5,000 miles away. I turn on one of these transmissions, offer a blessing. Something that's been there a week instantly goes away. Shen, Qi, Jing blockages. It doesn't matter. The physical representation is just a good way to get people to grasp it. So that's when you might use, for example, something middle level. Now, the Tao Healing Hands, if it was offered 2 or 3 times, 10 or 15 minutes each time, could have created a significant benefit for this person. I used a higher transmission, which basically means the channel is wider, therefore more juice came through, more virtue came through, more was offset faster, and her blockages cleared relatively instantly. I don't take any credit for this. I give all the credit to Source, since that's who's doing the blessings anyway. But I want you to understand, last week I taught the subject of forgiveness. When Jesus walked the earth, the records show that he would walk down the street, look at the soul, and say things like, you are forgiven. We don't know what actually transpired. We're just going by what was recorded. But since it's recorded quite a bit, it's probably accurate. You are forgiven. Now, who did the forgiving? Jesus is a very pure vessel of light. Very pure. You are forgiven. Source came through Jesus, offered forgiveness. What is forgiveness? It is the heavenly currency called virtue. Virtue offsets the spiritual debt. So in other words, heaven forgave the debt that that person had made. Heaven said, I forgive you, and these souls that have been harmed, I, heaven, will ask these souls to forgive you. That's what happened. So virtue offsets spiritual debt. It's very much like forgiveness, but instead of you doing it on your own, you're getting steroid level versions of it. You're getting massive, massive amounts of it in a very, very short period of time, as if you did it on your own. The reason the various energy and matter modalities that are out there, the Western medical model, the Eastern medical model, and the various practitioner models that are out there, the reason they don't always last very long or don't last for the full duration of time, some of them do. If they do and they're fine, most likely there was not much spiritual debt going on with that condition. But the ones that nothing seems to work on, doesn't matter what the person does, there's always that root cause. And that is what is being presented to humanity. As we speak, there is scientific literature being documented and written about the nature of Shen, Qi, and Jing blockages from the level of physics intelligence. This is being written and explained to physicists around the world. It is being written and explained to those in religious societies around the world, so that people can grasp the nature of soul. So a practitioner, one that deals with soul services, is a vessel through which Source offers virtue, and in essence forgiveness is given. The energy and matter, which had been tweaked and brought out of proportion, the consciousness, which had consciousness of negativity, is then altered because the spiritual debt is released and virtue is put in its place, which organizes the energy and matter, brings in the message of love and forgiveness, and alters things at the level of the blockage, whether it's a relationship blockage, a financial blockage, or a human level blockage. It matters not. The result is the same because the blockage originates at the level of soul. The Jin Dan transmission system is one of the highest systems. And Master Sha originally received this system a few years back. He received versions of it about 10 years ago. First he received the ability to replace the soul blockages. Then he received the ability to replace the chi blockages. Then he received the ability to replace the matter blockages. Then he received the ability to do all three in one request. And as he kept serving humanity, helping people to stop their suffering, as he kept driving around the world, flying around the world, teaching people about love, peace and harmony, heaven kept rewarding him by giving him higher and higher abilities and virtue, and his channel became wider and wider and wider. So as a practitioner, I have received my channel, my transmissions from this teacher, Master Sha. He received his from Source. So think of him as a huge, wider than you can spread your hands channel of light, and we have these little channels that offshoot from Source that give us similar abilities, but certainly not the same authorities as he has. The transmission system that I'm referring to, the reason I've taken all this time to get to it is so that you truly have a grasp of how much it can change your life. This system, if it's comprehended, can bring so much value to your life. Most of us, how many people do you know somebody grumpy? You know, no matter what, they're just not happy. Okay? And probably every hand went up. If you came to really understand that person, you'd probably find out they were in significant pain. Physical pain. A lot of grumpy people, they're in physical pain. But they don't tell anybody. They're just grumpy. When we can't sleep well, when we have very low energy, when we are in physical pain, when we have constant headaches, when we have constant neck ache, backache, when we are depressed all the time, when we are in constant fear or anxiety or grief, when we have mental blockages, just tons of negativity, we can't seem to figure it out. If any of these resonate with you at all, these are all Shen Qi Jing blockages. There is nothing that, these are all Shen Qi Jing blockages. I just went through an entire explanation process so that you grasp that's their source. And the Jin Dan transmission system can be offered to any of those by name or by label or by condition, by body part or organ or system, by emotion. It can even be offered for your individual chakras or your individual energy centers. One of the unique things about the Jin Dan transmission system is what it does. It has three parts. The first part is what's called a special request or a special order, in which only the master teachers, there's currently about 100 master teachers who have received these authorities. I'm blessed to be one of them. You do not have to use me. There's Master Avi, I believe, is still watching. You can use her. There are 100 masters around the world. Find one. We have all been given the ability to offer you this kind of a blessing. And the first part of it is called a special order. And then that special order, in essence, what we're doing is we're making a very, very high level and very special request for the highest amount of Shen Qi Jing blockages to be released from that area. We'll use the example of long-standing back pain. And they'll use a different example of depression. Now, we don't do it. Again, we're just a delivery system. We don't make any claims of the word healing or anything like that. We're all taught to take no credit. We're all taught, in fact, after we offer a blessing, to put our head on the ground and offer gratitude to the source, which does these things. When we offer the blessing, it's not limited by time or space. I don't have to be standing in front of somebody to do this. In fact, 95% of the blessings that are offered are remote. And they all work with the same degree of efficacy. I have to admit, I went to great levels of surprise with that, but I'm no longer surprised. It just happens that way. So service can be offered anywhere in the world, regardless of where you're at. Why? Because I'm not doing it, first of all. And your soul does not... your soul is the carrier of these spiritual debts and spiritual virtues. Your soul, if you had, for example, the condition of emotions, then you would have a great deal of blockage in the heart center. If your third eye, spiritual eye, was open, you could see there'd be a great deal of darkness around the heart center. Therefore, the light is not shining. You've met people, they're shiny, they're bubbly, they're truly, authentically happy. If you could see their heart center, it would be shiny and bubbly. There would be no darkness there, or very little. But those that are depressed, they have a lot of darkness there. So that's a soul level blockage that's manifested at the physical level, at the emotional level, at the lethargy level. Okay. Same thing with, that long-standing back pain. It's at the soul level. If you could see the person's soul of their back, it would be a lot of darkness right there where that pain is. That's the spiritual debt that was brought from many, many lifetimes of making wrong choices, potentially harming others in that area, and now it's come back to remind the person in this life. And so when one of the master teachers like myself offers the Jin Dan transmission system, we make a significant level request, not a small one. Remember, I gave the example a little while ago, the soul operation. A week-long migraine went away instantly. Thank you, Divine. If somebody was using Divine Healing Hands, Tao hands, it might have taken 15 minutes, 3 times, to create the same level, what it was accomplished in 2 minutes. The difference is the level of the channel. Well, the soul operation compared to the Jin Dan, it's like kindergarten to, PhD. The soul operation is pretty powerful. In fact, when I do a Jin Dan transmission system for somebody, I always add the soul operation just for extra measure. It's not really necessary, but I add it anyway. So the Jin Dan transmission system, the request is made instantly. If your third eye was open, what happens is over that person's soul is a massive channel of light that opens up. The virtue is delivered, the Akashic record of that person opens up. The Akashic record represents, in that moment, it will show where all the spiritual debt is, all the souls that have been harmed. And they are offered virtue to offset that spiritual debt. They make an agreement to no longer bring suffering to that person in its representation at the physical level. They leave. How do you know if it works? Because shortly after the blessing, especially if it's a physical or an emotional thing, there's typically a measurable difference. No promises. I'm not doing the blessings anyway, I'm just a middleman. But I have done this long enough and often enough to know and to say with confidence that there is a substantial and dramatic shift in most cases. The second blessing that is offered is one of the more special aspects of the Jin Dan transmission system. And it has to do with a recognition that some of the blockages that have come to that person might not be too thrilled that someone, for example, paid me a couple $100 and this person no longer has to suffer. This is, as an example, right? What if in previous time these souls had went through dramatic suffering in their back or spinal column? Maybe had it cut. Maybe they were paralyzed, who knows? And so when a person in this lifetime is suffering with back pain, and so I offer a blessing, they're forced to move, and maybe they're not too thrilled about that. For, you know, they say, look, you know, this person pays enough for 2 meals, and I gotta leave. I don't feel they've learned their lesson. So this is a possibility as an example. So the second order is one of the most important orders. It's called a light wall protection for that requested area. So that order is then given, and instantly a light wall protection goes around whatever the area was cleared. If it was an emotional condition, light wall protection. If it was a physical condition, light wall protection. The reason that's so extraordinary is because whatever has been removed cannot come back. That means that whatever that person that is doing to bring about normality in their life will work potentially a lot better than it had been. If they were going to see the physical therapist, all of a sudden that would work a lot better. If they were going to get massage, all of a sudden that would work a lot better, because they're no longer fighting this uphill battle of that spiritual debt. The third request or order that is given is for all of the soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter to be made new. To be made new. Now I need you to understand that, to be made new. That means that the old stuff that had been harmed through years and years of that suffering, through years and years of dilapidation. Imagine 15, 20 years of depression, what that would do for the energy and matter of that area. Imagine all that neck pain for 10, 20, 30 years. The degeneration of the physical energy and matter would be quite a bit. So a request is made where new energy and matter, again, Source does this, comes in and replaces the old energy and matter. And so that's quite a bit different than the other layers of blessings that were spoken about. When somebody receives the Jin Dan transmission system, the possibility of recovery is much better than it was before it. And the propensity to be free of the blockages is very, very good. So I see some questions popping up here and a few comments. So Kate says, a question for when it's appropriate. Can this help someone with a family with a fairly severe mental illness, and can it be offered without their knowledge, or do they need to accept and welcome the healing first? And so the answer is, you need to ask them if they would be willing to receive an energy blessing. If the answer is yes, then the answer is yes. It could potentially bring great benefit to them. But it is important that there is approval by those that we want to assist. Richie says, be the light and the rest will follow. Aloha Rishav and aloha Richie. So this information will be commonplace 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. There were a few souls that dropped off. They said, it butted up against their mindsets, attitudes, and beliefs. Those that did not believe in Reiki missed out. There's a lot of benefit to those that did, because it adjusted the energy and matter blockages and people felt relief. Those that did not believe in acupuncture continued to suffer until finally it was accepted and approved, and is now approved by insurances. Those that are poo-pooing on soul healing without giving it more time don't really understand it. We are beyond blessed that at this time, this kind of power, I guess is a good way to put it, has been given to this being, Master Sha, because he's dedicated service to humanity. And then we're beyond blessed that it can be transferred to individuals, that we can also be of service to humanity. So I will offer this as additional sharing at this time. If you know of anybody, including yourself, that would like truly to clear your chakras. Not just wave a crystal over it and say it's clear. Clear all lifetimes. Light world protection, and truly have high levels of spiritual debt cleared. That kind of blessing is available. If you have a history in your family of heart blockages, and there's a potentiality of you having it, you can get something just for your heart. If you know of somebody, a good friend, a lover, that has had long-standing back, neck, shoulder pain, leg pain, knee pain, this kind of system can change their life. And when a person is happier and healthier, they will literally be able to be happier and healthier around other people. So it creates this very positive return all the way through. If you have somebody you care about that has significant emotional mental blockages, this can significantly benefit their life. There's nothing I've come across, and I've been on the spiritual path since I was age 18. I have checked out everything you guys have checked out and more. And to this date, I have not seen anything more powerful, more authentic in its abilities. Maya, my cat's bothering my camera. So my encouragement would be to take advantage of this knowledge for yourself and for others. The transmission systems for organ systems health issues are listed on my website. The honor fee is $300. Honestly, somebody goes to see the massage person 3 or 4 times, they've already spent that kind of money. They spend gobs and gobs on any emotional blockages. I'm always amazed if somebody thinks that's too much. I think it's actually too little. I probably should raise it. But I think it's very reasonable. There are other blessings that might be sufficient. I talked about the soul operation. It may be enough. It's only $75. There's crown chakra blessings. All of these can be offered remotely. You don't have to be in person, and they work amazingly well. We never make promises. But I had to go through this explanation so that you understand what it is. Because honestly, I always shake my head when people aren't standing in line, and yet they're suffering. They're suffering left and right. And the solutions are right in front of them. All I can do is continue to deliver the information and hope people wake up. And you have the opportunity to be able to serve others that you care about. For those that wish to consider being approved as a Tao Hands practitioner, which is extraordinary. These kinds of practitioners can offer extraordinary blessings. I tell you, if you do Reiki or anything like that, this is definitely, at least in my opinion, don't want to put it down, a level above, simply because it deals with things at the level of origin. And so, at the very least, it will cause what you're already doing to be substantially enhanced. Then contact me, and then I can check to see if you're approved. I can then inform you of the event that's coming up in Honolulu, June 9, 10, and 11. I'm telling you because, at least to date, we've been told that it will be offered webcast. I believe that's still true. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm 95% sure on that. So if in fact it is available on webcast, then that's not something you want to pass up. Simply because the only other way to do it is in person, and there's only 5 locations that are currently offering in person in the whole world. And it takes a lot of money to fly to places. So I will leave you with offering everybody that's watching a blessing and a request to share this with people you care about. They may not be interested in the video and the information. You can just, say, I'd like to offer you a blessing. Would you be interested in receiving that? Okay? And then I can serve them. So make your request for what it is that you would like at this time. For those that are on a budget and would like to receive very high level blessings twice a month, I do have a service. It's listed on my website, asoulhealer.com, and it's called a bi-monthly blessing. It's so cheap. I'm always surprised that there's not 100 people taking advantage of it. It's only $30. You get 2 20-minute blessings a month from a master teacher. My blessings aren't little. This 3-minute blessing, I've offered these before, and I've had their discomfort go in half in 3 minutes. I'm offering this twice a month for 20 minutes for $30. So you can learn more at my website. Maybe Kristen will post it. So make your request. Thank you, Kristen, for posting that. Not to me online, just make it to heaven. This blessing goes out to everyone's request as appropriate. Blessing begin. This will be a silent blessing. Blessing is continuing. Continue to see the golden light, rainbow light coming to your area of request. If it's something not physical, see it coming to the middle of your heart center. So if you know of somebody that has major issues, cancers, things like that, you want to put them in touch with me. I can serve them. Of course I don't make promises, but I can definitely serve them, and they will certainly be better off by connecting to me than by not connecting to me. One more minute. Lula, lula, lee. Lula, lula, la, lee. Lula, lula, lee, lula. Lula, lee, lula. Lula, lee, lula. 我爱我心儿灵，我爱纯然泪，望玲珑和睦世上，相爱平安和谐，相爱平安和谐。I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace and harmony. Love, peace and harmony. How. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Healing transmission, please return. Aloha Lori, thanks for joining. Aloha everybody who is newer and just came in a little bit late. Thank you for joining. So I'm wrapping up this live stream. Highly recommend that after I complete it, takes about a minute to reset, that you go back and watch it from the beginning. I go through a very thorough explanation of the nature of the blockages that bring problems into our life, how we can go about special understanding and services to dramatically clear the blockages much faster than we could on our own. This dovetails on last week's teachings, and I do recommend, if you haven't seen last week's teachings, to go above this video. It lists the archive, to go back there and watch them last week, and it will show you how they step upon each other to position yourself to self-heal through whatever you're going through. The teachings today are designed to assist you to dramatically limit your suffering. There's really no reason to have pain, major emotional blockages, major relationship blockages, anything of this nature, if you know about the services that I spoke about today. So I encourage you to, for yourself and for your loved ones, to take advantage of them. It's not about me, it's about you and leveling yourself up. So I look forward to serving you. I will be back here again tomorrow. For those that are new that'd like to know more, please hit the subscribe button, and you'll also be told when I go live. So until then, aloha. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.